healthy masculine man always leads with love and with care. And when you follow that leadership, you will feel good inside. You will feel this safety, this openness, and it will be easy to follow his lead. Many men will try to lead you, but not with this loving, warm, masculine energy. It may feel masculine in some ways, but it is actually controlling. He is trying to take from you rather than trying to give to you. He's not giving his love. He is trying to get your compliance, your obedience. And this is going to feel like force. He is actually subtly, or maybe not so subtly, subjugating you. He is domineering. And you will feel bad in your body. You will feel a lack of safety. And if you choose to follow his leadership, the more that you do that, typically the smaller you are going to become. You are going to lose your self-worth. You're going to feel increasingly bad about yourself. And there's a good chance that you're going to end up getting very hurt. And what we are going to talk about today is the difference between true healthy masculine leadership and domineering, controlling leadership, and what you can do about it if you happen to be with a man now or in the future who is actually energetically subjugating you. He's not leading you fully with love. Before we get into it, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Zach Rody. I'm here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell and be sure to like this video because, of course, I'm going to make sure it's a really good one for you. So this is an issue that many of my women clients have found themselves in the past, and often when they get into our academy program, they are currently with a man who is like that, who is subjugating them. This is not necessarily a deal breaker. It can be, but you'll never really know until you make the shifts that I teach you on these videos and in my program and on my discovery calls, where you're learning to be more feminine, you're being more vulnerable, you're opening up, and you're also choosing, this is very important, you're choosing not to comply when a man is in that energy. True submission, this is a trigger word. If you're new to my channel, just hang tight. Okay, don't trigger away. True submission is when you are honoring your heart, when you are following a man's leadership. It should feel good. There should be a safety in it. You're making that decision from your own autonomy rather than doing it because you're fawning, because you're trying to get safety, because you're trying to avoid abandonment, because you're walking around on eggshells. Submission is beautiful. Submission is heart honoring for a woman. You're actually in your self-worth when you are following a man's leadership, because what you're actually doing is just receiving his gifts, right? When a man leads you and he's like, hey, sweetheart, be ready for 8 o'clock. I planned this great date for you and I'm going to take you out. That's a form of leadership, right? He's planned something and he's telling you what to do. When you're like, okay, I'll be ready, and then you get ready for 8 o'clock, you've submitted to that leadership. And does that make you weak or less than? No, it's like he's taking you out. He's doing something to make you feel special. You're fully worthy of that. A woman who is in her self-worth is worthy of submitting to a man's devoted leadership. That is not a problem. Okay, and I'm only talking to women who are new. If you've been on my channel before, I'm sure you get that already. But for new women, a lot of what I say could be very triggering. So the problem is not submitting to a man. That's actually the only way that you're going to experience a really healthy relationship with a man, because a healthy man, a masculine man, he needs to be leading. He needs to be in charge. He needs to be the one that's making the decisions. In my marriage, I make the decisions. I don't let my wife make decisions. I mean, I might delegate certain decisions, but I'm not letting her make decisions where she's telling me what to do. But I make those decisions with love. I make those decisions where I'm considering what she needs. I'm considering what she feels. I'm anticipating her needs. And I'm often asking about what would make her happy, trying to understand her if there's something that I don't fully know what would make her happy, right? I want to find that out before I make those decisions. So that's what healthy masculine men do. And I don't consider myself in any way better than my wife. I'm not superior to her. Her needs are not less important than mine. Our needs are equally important. But my need is to lead. My need is to be in charge. And her need as a woman is to be cherished. It's to be taken care of. It's to actually to not to lead, to not control. It is to feel safety in her body when she is following. It is to be following a man who is truly devoted to her and who is a safe man, who is in integrity, who is an honorable man, who is true to his word, right? These are important needs for a woman. And so I want to fulfill those needs by being that kind of man that she needs me to be. Not because she's leading me to do it, but because she's vulnerably sharing what is coming up for her so that I can understand her, so that I can be that best version of myself. Now, that took a long time to get to in our marriage. We've been working on this for 6 years. I haven't been that man my entire marriage. And earlier in my marriage, I was never the subjugating kind of man. I was actually the opposite of that. I was so afraid of subjugating a woman that I just didn't want to fully step up into leading because I thought like I was being unfair in some kind of way. So my problem was I was like a roommate to my wife the first three and a half years, where I wasn't leading, I wasn't taking charge, I wasn't anticipating her needs, and it frustrated the hell out of her. And she didn't really know why, and she didn't know how to communicate that. And it wasn't until until I started learning about polarity and teaching her polarity and teaching her how to communicate differently. And I taught myself how to stop enabling her behaviors, her control patterns, her bad communication, her disrespect. That's when everything started to change. But for other relationships, the biggest issue is that the man is very controlling. So he's already leading a lot, which is like, it's good that he's leading. It's good that he's taking charge, but he's doing it with the wrong energy. Healthy leadership is where a man is leading and giving the gift of leadership. It's like an offering, but an offering that's very strong and powerful, right? It's not like he's offering it permissively, like, oh, you want to go do this with me? No, he's like, hey, be ready for 8 o'clock. But he's saying it with love. And this frees up the woman to make that choice from a place of her own autonomy. And ideally, if there's any problem with following his lead, then to use feminine communication to share what's coming up for her. Because if she just says like, no, I don't want to, like, I'm not going to do this, then she's creating a wall and she's resisting and she's actually being disrespectful. But what many men will do is they will lead, they will tell a woman to do whatever he wants her to do, but with energetic force. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like if you are a woman and you are living, you're more than like 6 months old, which I'm assuming you are if you're watching this video, you have grown up in a world where you have been subjugated at least once and possibly most of your life. And the reason I say that is because with parenting, typically one or both parents will subjugate their children, especially with, we've worked with like 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds, but especially women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and the older that they get, and we've worked with women all the way into their 70s. I think the oldest woman was maybe 79, and we're helping them all create the relationship of their dreams. The older they get, the more likely that they grew up in a household where they were subjugated, where they were not taught healthy submission, they were taught to obey. They were taught obedience, they were taught compliance, they were taught how to fawn, and if they didn't do as they were told, the parent would get angry, they would be critical, and they would energetically force the child to do it. And by the way, that's not what I do with my daughter, right? My wife and I have a beautiful, lovely 3 and 3 months year old daughter. And as little as like there's some times where it's just like, well, you got to get your pants on and like, we're doing this. But as little as possible do I ever want to use energetic force to get her to follow my leadership. I will always lead her with love, with care. If she's having difficulty receiving my leadership, if she's resisting, if she's having a temper tantrum, whatever, I will help her emotionally regulate. First of all, I will give her a hug. I will get down on her level. I will ask her what's wrong, ask her about her feelings, find out what the problem is underneath her feelings so that she can follow. And like 98% of the time, when a parent knows how to do that with a child, you get a child that is happy to follow because children want to be good for their parents, naturally. That was a little bit of a tangent, but the point is most little girls didn't get that. So you learned how to be subjugated to an extent. And then you get free of your parents and it's like you don't want more of that. But you also want a masculine man. And oftentimes you're stuck between two not so pleasant choices. One is you have a man who's kind of emasculated and weak and has no backbone and isn't really stepping up to lead. And then the other choice is a man who does lead, but he's doing it with energetic force a lot of the time. And that doesn't feel good. And you don't feel that safety in your body when you're being led that way. And you crave that. Part of that is that masculine energy. Like the man who is controlling, he does have masculine energy. It's just that his heart is not fully online, and he's not fully aware of where his boundaries end and where your boundaries begin. So it's like he's taking from you instead of giving to you. If you find yourself in that situation, or if you found yourself in that situation, it's not going to feel good, and you're going to do one of two things typically. You're either going to go into resistance, where you don't follow his lead and you start judging and questioning and not doing what he says. If you do that, it is understand it's going to be a form of disrespect. And I'm not saying there's not a time and place to do that. Like if a man is like, I don't even want to say the word on YouTube, it screws up my reach, but if a man is forcing himself on you in the bedroom, let's say, you resist as much as you want, as much as you need to. And you always retain that right if you really need to. But most of the time, you actually don't need to energetically resist a man. What you need to do is vulnerably share what is coming up for you. Because unless a man is like a narcissist or a sociopath or just really not a good person, he's going to be responsive to your feelings when you share them vulnerably. So one of the really big things that I help women do, so just an overview here. I run an academy program. It's a year-long program for women to learn how to communicate vulnerably, how to let go of control, how to always honor their heart, how to find their feminine voice, and ultimately how to inspire a man into taking care of them, whether they're single or in a relationship. And I also do calls for that program, free discovery calls, where I will talk to you about what's going on in your love life, why you're stuck, what your problems are, and I will help you shift out of those problems. I will actually give you feedback about your communication, about even how you're showing up on the call, and also how you showed up in that past relationship or current relationship. And from that, it's really helpful for you to learn what to do to do better in the future. And by the way, if you're interested in doing that call with me, go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see a link and you're going to click that, relationshipyourdreams.com. You're going to watch a video on that next page, and then you book the call with me, and then I'll see you there and we'll start creating the relationship of your dreams. Many women who do these calls with me have a really strong pattern of resistance in their relationship or past relationships. So they will go into judgment a lot, they'll go into blame, they'll go into questioning, and they don't know how to communicate what's coming up for them in a way where a man will actually be inspired to shift himself. No amount of judging, no amount of teaching a man, no amount of questioning a man, nagging a man, leading a man, telling him what to do is ever going to get him to change, and it's almost certainly going to make things worse. Right? My wife, I'm just giving you an example. Like I started out very imperfect as a man, and I had to lead my wife into the communication that I now teach women because it was so effective for me. Like when I understood, when I felt from my wife the few times where she was vulnerable, and I just felt in my body this like almost overwhelming desire to want to take care of her and be a better man for her. I was like, I need her to be communicating this way all the time with me. And so I pieced together what it was exactly that she was doing that was different than how she would normally communicate. And then I taught her how to do that. And I led her to stop communicating in all the other ways because I just became increasingly inspired the more that she did that to want to be my absolute best for her. And that's what I call feminine communication and vulnerability. That's what I teach women in my program and on my calls. And if you happen to be the kind of woman that goes into resistance, you need to know how to communicate this way so that a man can see himself and start shifting in a way that's going to feel better for you. So if you've got a man or had a man who subjugates, he needs to understand the fear that is coming up for you, the tightness, the anxiety, possibly the anger, the sadness, the shame, everything that comes up for you. He needs to know. You need to open yourself up to his help by being permissive. That's part of feminine communication that we teach. You need to share what the problems are vulnerably without blaming him, without judging him, so that he can see himself and to want to be a better man for you. Most men who do subjugate, they're not doing it on purpose. They don't actually want to hurt you as a woman. They just don't know any better. They don't know how to fully regulate themselves. They don't know how to take a step back and offer that leadership from a place of love and care where you can receive that instead of where he's energetically taking it from you. He just doesn't know. But you can inspire him to see himself. The other type of woman that we have in our program and that I get on my calls, and this woman's probably more common, I would say, is a woman who doesn't resist, or at least on the spectrum of resisting to not resisting, is more of the compliant type, more of the doormat type, at least with a really masculine man where like you're really attracted to him. The more masculine a man is, the more attracted you are to him, the more that a woman tends to compromise herself, compromise her heart, and just follow his leadership even if it doesn't feel good, because you're just that much more scared of being abandoned. So women will often be the compliant type where they're not sharing their feelings. They're avoiding sharing their feelings. They're staying more closed, going along to get along, not wanting to rock the boat. And what I do with those women, both in my program and on my calls, is help them find their voice. Honestly, one of the best things for me, my most favorite things about doing calls with women is with those type of women is being that really safe man for them and like proactively leading them to sharing their feelings, not just about their man or past man, their other relationship, whatever, but also their feelings about me. And I mean, there might be some positive feelings as well, but especially the negative feelings, because those are typically the hardest feelings to share. So I will say at the beginning of the call, like if you feel any anger, if you feel any feelings of pressure, you feel anxiety because of any of the ways that I'm leading you, I want to know. And when I notice that, because it's like, oh, I can feel like she's resistant in some kind of way, but she's not sharing it. I can feel that. I've done well over 1,000 of these calls, so I'm like, I'm hyper aware of how a woman is feeling and what kind of resistance she might be feeling at the time and why. So when I notice it, I'll be like, tell me what you're feeling right now. And I will lead her into opening up, into sharing, and then teaching her, here's how you can share this next time with me and how to share it with a man. Because with me, I'm not going to subjugate a woman, and I don't want to lead a woman to do, here's the thing, even if I'm leading fully with love, a woman who's very compliant could still end up dishonoring her heart because she's not speaking up about something that's causing discomfort in some kind of way. And I want to know what that is, right? Like, for example, on these calls, if the academy is right for you, we'll talk about the program and I'll lead you into working with us. And if a woman doesn't speak up, if she has fears about that at that point, well, she could end up dishonoring herself. I will never try to force my program on a woman. Of course, I would never want to do that. That's really out of integrity. But I also have to ask women how they're feeling, because often they won't even speak up if they are feeling that. They'll just go along because they don't want my disapproval. They don't want me to see them in a bad light in any kind of way. So my favorite part of these calls is I am giving women a voice and leading them into their voice, into their feminine voice, and giving them reassurance that it's like, it's okay. And sometimes women have it's not just fear. Like there's been sometimes where women feel angry at me because, I'm persistent, but in a very loving way, in a way where I'm very supportive of them. So sometimes like they'll feel anger and I'm like, yeah, tell me why you feel angry. I want to know. I genuinely want to know exactly why I'm affecting a woman in a certain way. And often she's just like projecting bad experiences of other men onto me, and that's okay too. But giving a woman that voice is so important, because when she is with a man who does tend to be more controlling, is more in that subjugating frequency, she must be able to speak up for herself and share what's going on instead of enabling him to control her. A woman should never allow or enable a man to control her, because she is dishonoring her heart. You will end up hurting yourself, and you will end up probably enabling a man to deeply hurt you as well. Lead you into a bad financial decision or bad decision in the bedroom, or just take away your self-worth little by little, drain it away. I don't want that for you. And your voice is part of the antidote to that, but your voice is ultimately connected to your self-worth. So if you really lack self-worth, you're either, if you really lack self-worth, you're just not going to be speaking up. what women will often do is they cultivate some self-worth, but it's more masculine self-worth. So it's like you'll speak up in a more masculine way, but you're not truly in your feminine worth still. And what I teach you to do is get into your feminine self-worth, where you're learning to share without trying to control in any way. You're not controlling in any way. You're just being vulnerable. You're being open. You're sharing everything. You're wearing your heart on your sleeve. And either the man cares and wants to be better, which most men do when a woman gets this right, or if a man doesn't shift in any kind of way, and you're actually doing everything right, you're being vulnerable, you're being open, you're being perfectly respectful, you're in that beautiful frequency, you're going to know relatively quickly, okay, this is not a man I can follow because he's not safe, because he wants to subjugate me, he wants to control me. He's not interested in taking care of the feminine. He's not interested in cherishing me. He's only interested in taking from me energetically. And when you start to see that, which you're only going to know that for sure when you're truly vulnerable in the way that I teach. When you truly see that, now you'll know, okay, I need to flow away from this man because he's not good for me. And those men exist. There's bad men out there. There's deeply wounded bad men that are going to hurt you. And I would never want you to learn this material, but it's like you just keep being vulnerable and then going along with unhealthy leadership, because that's not what I teach, because I don't teach submission. Or sorry, I don't teach compliance. What I described is not submission. I only teach women healthy submission, which is always honoring your heart. And when you learn how to do that, the more that your self-worth comes online, the more that you're going to attract really healthy masculine men. Like we see it all the time in our academy program, regardless of where a woman was, like either really resistant or really a doormat or kind of some kind of mix of both. A lot of women start as a doormat and then get more resistant the more that they get screwed over and have allowed themselves to be subjugated in some way. Wherever they start, when they learn how to feel everything, we teach women how to feel everything in their bodies, how to communicate everything that's coming up, learning how to be fully vulnerable, and learning how to not enable unhealthy patterns, learn how to flow away from a man. What happens is we have seen so many miracles, so many single women who end up with like devotional men, like literally men who are showing up the way that the coaches act, that I act in our academy program. They treat a woman the way that we treat women, except also with the romance and all that energy that we do not treat our clients with. And for women that are in relationships, often with men that are kind of in that subjugating energy, very critical and everything, many of our clients have learned how to kind of open up their hearts and have them see themselves and then start shifting. And we've also worked with men who start in that very subjugating energy and they realize how much of a problem it is and learn how to start leading with that love and care as a gift as well. All of this is possible because all of it is just due to woundings. And the most empowering message I can ever give you is that you are co-creating these experiences. If you are in any kind of mindset of like this is being done to you, like you are being subjugated, and unless a man is like threatening your life and stuff, that's a bit of a different story. But for the most part, when a woman is being subjugated, you're just co-creating it by your own energy of being a doormat, by tolerating it, by not communicating your voice. And that's great because that means you can shift that. It's all up to you. You have to look at yourself. You have to see how you are co-creating this and then decide, no, I'm going to start using feminine communication. I'm going to share my heart vulnerably. I'm going to share how much fear is coming up for me, how much anger, how much frustration, how much shame, without blaming, without judging. You're going to open yourself. You're going to ask him for help. You're going to stop doing the things that he wants you to do when he's in that frequency. And now he has a choice, right? Because when you stop, it's like you're not enabling, number one, which is fantastic. And you are treating him with so much respect, even though he doesn't even really deserve it. Like he's not even being respectable, but you're still choosing to treat him with respect while also treating yourself with respect by not enabling him and going along and subjugating yourself. And now you're basically putting him in a position where he has to decide, like, if I want a woman who follows my lead, if I want a woman who's going to do what I say, I better shape up. I better start leading her with love. I better start treating her needs as important as my own. I better start cherishing her. I got to look at myself and fix this. This is a problem. And the more that you shift into your self-worth, the more that a man will want to do that, because the more that you're in your self-worth, the more that a man is compelled to treat you as worthy. It's like we're compelled to a degree. I mean, people who are really honorable are going to treat everyone with respect regardless. But in general, people are going to want to treat people better when they see themselves as worthy and they act as it. That's just the way that it is. So I help you do that. And I don't care how low your self-worth is right now. We work with a lot of women. We have a mix, but like a lot of women we work with, their self-worth is like bottom of the barrel. They got like none. They compromise their heart all the time. And my message for you is that wherever you are in your self-worth journey, you can 100% shift it. You can learn to be the kind of woman that fully loves herself and honors herself all the time. And that's the only way that you're going to inspire a man into cherishing you. And I would love to support you in this journey. I would love to see if you are right for our Academy program. And the way that we're going to figure that out, if you're interested in working with us, is book that call with me. Book a call. We'll talk all about what's going on in your love life. And I will help you. And I will, I'm not just there to teach you. I'm not just there to teach you about yourself and what you've done. I am there to teach you about what you are currently doing, helping you feel, helping you share your feelings with me, helping you honor your heart, helping you be fully, radically honest with me. For many women, this experience, being led in this way, is the only time they've ever experienced it in their entire life. I'm not saying for every woman, but for many women, I've been told that. It's like I've never been led with love in this way. I've never had space held for my feelings. And this is what helps you heal. And like you can literally heal, I'm not saying you fully heal, but you heal a part of yourself just in that short experience. And then of course, if you do work with us in our program, you end up healing so much more, because that's how me and my entire team are leading you and caring for you the entire time. So if you're interested in working with us, book that call. Again, that's below the video, relationshipyourdreams.com, in the description. Watch the video, book that call, press the button below. And I will see you on the call. We're going to have a really great time. Bring some tissues, bring your stories, and we'll help you make that shift. And if you're not ready, keep watching these videos, because I have so many great ones for you that are going to help you understand this polarity journey, this self-worth journey, this feminine communication journey, and you just have to keep listening to them. That's it for this one. See you for the next one.